This looks like your typical iPhone, but let's try to turn it on. As you can see, the Apple logo is cut off and there are some artifacts on the screen. This spot is a little darker than the rest of the screen. Let's see what happens when it finishes booting up. By the way, this is an iPhone 4S. As you can see, there's something wrong with the screen. This part is completely broken. And also there are some small parts over here where the LCD doesn't work anymore. There's a sad story behind it. Basically, this phone got thrown on the ground and it had a pretty hard hit, so it screwed up. It's a miracle that it still works. The phone is bent on the side. You can't see it very well. I put some electrical tape because the back cover popped off, and because it's bent I can't put it back on correctly. But it's bent just like an iPhone 6, and the LCD is broken. Also, the SIM card slot doesn't work very well. It still detects SIM cards, but it's very finicky. It often doesn't detect any SIM cards, and other times it says SIM failure. So let's try to unlock it. Actually, the touch screen still works even where the screen is broken, which is kind of cool, but it's pretty sad to see it like this. Also, you might notice that it's running an older version of iOS. This phone came with iOS 5 and it was upgraded to pretty much all major iOS versions like 6, 7 and 8. And I've even tried the iOS 9 beta on it for a few days. Then I restored back to iOS 8.3. But recently there was a tool that was released that allowed you to downgrade the iPhone 4S to iOS 6. And because I already have my iPhone 5S running iOS 8, I decided to take this one back to iOS 6 because I really like the older design and it's faster, and as you can see I can't use it as my main phone because it's broken like this. It's very fragile too. If I push on the screen just a little bit you can see the artifacts the LCD makes, and if I push too hard the black spot will enlarge and eventually it may break the entire screen. By the way, I'll include links for the downgrade process in the description if you happen to have a Mac running a relatively new version of macOS 10. It doesn't work with my MacBook on macOS 10.7, but I tried it on a macOS 10.10 virtual machine on my other computer and it worked, so you have to have a pretty new version. Maybe even 10.9 will work, I don't know. Anyway, let's take a look at how broken this phone is. I'll take off the tape on it just to show a little better how bent it is. It just comes off. And here's the back. It's typical back of an iPhone 4 or 4S, and it's pretty bent. Maybe you can't tell from the camera very easily, but it's screwed up and it's a miracle that it still works. I'll put it back on a little better later. The touch screen still works and pretty much everything else works. For example, we can try some music on it. I don't know, for example, the song I used in my jailbreaking iPhone with Windows 10 video. The speaker works, and sometimes it feels louder than my iPhone 5S, which is kind of funny. The camera works, although it's because of some glitch with the battery, which is old. When you open the camera when it's at about 40 or 30% battery, it will shut off and it will say the battery is low. and it can't turn back on until you plug it in again. But this was for over 2 years. This phone was bought in October 2011. The Wi-Fi also works, which is surprising considering a lot of iPhone 4S units had a defect where the Wi-Fi antenna would completely stop working. So let's load Google, for example. It may not be very fast, but it works. Yeah, see. I downloaded some apps. The phone complains that a lot of apps are can only run on iOS 7 and higher, and so it offers me to download an older version. For example, let's try YouTube. Sorry about this exposure change, but I'm filming this with my smartphone, my OnePlus One. And I don't know what we can try. Let's just look up something like destroying Windows. And let's see when one of my videos comes up. Yeah, see, my Windows 8 on a real computer video. All the buttons work, except for the volume up button, but that was broken prior. So I have to use assistive touch to turn up the volume. And let's see if my internet is fast enough at the moment so I can load the video. Yeah, it works. The home button works, but it wore out over the years, so it works, but it sometimes requires a firm press, and I don't want to accidentally push anywhere else and break the screen even further, so I use assistive touch for that as well. And Siri also works on this older version, but a lot of features that I'm used to using with Siri say that I need to update my phone. So let's try, for example, turning on Bluetooth. Turn on Bluetooth. I know my pronunciation kind of sucks, but let's see if Siri understands me anyway. If it works.
If you update to the latest version of iOS, I'll be able to help you with that.
I don't think I'll ever update this phone again. I've got my iPhone 5S if I want to use the newer design and anything that requires a new iOS version. But also because I've jailbroken it, so the only way for me to update would be through my computer with iTunes. I've jailbroken it to try some tweaks like VNC to connect to the phone using VNC and see the entire screen. And not much else, really. You can see the one on the settings icon. I can get rid of it with a jailbreak tweak. What else can I say? Well, this phone is perfectly working apart from the screen. I don't think our shop is going to repair this for me, and I don't have the skills to do it myself. It's really fragile, so can't take it anywhere. And it has 64 gigabytes, so I could fill it with music and use it somewhere like in my car, but I already used my 5S for this. Or my OnePlus. This one doesn't have any extra features. The screen didn't shatter because it was thrown on a carpet. But still, I don't advise you to throw an iPhone as hard as you can on the ground. So that's the story about this poor iPhone 4S. Thank you for watching.